elastic pocket to any bag. So I'm going to have Danny switch over to the overhead camera so I can talk quickly before the demonstration about the different items that will be needed for this. So this is just a little fabric sample, the piece of fabric that I will be attaching the mesh pocket to. So the supplies that you'll need are mesh, and I really like by Annie's mesh. It comes in 14 different colors. This is the Tahiti, which is a purple color, and the mesh is stretchier in a certain direction. So as you can see, it's stretchy that way, and it's really not much stretchy this way. For this particular type of pocket, for a mesh elastic pocket, you want to cut your mesh in the direction of the stretch. So length times height, you'll want to cut it so that it's stretchy, and that will suit that particular type of pocket better. And then you'll also need fold over elastic. Again, this is the By Annie's fold over elastic. This particular one is 3/4 of an inch wide. It does have a shiny side and a matte side, so you can decide which side you'd like to be showing outward on your finished mesh elastic pocket, and a glue stick. So this is the Fons and Porter glue stick. I use this all the time for applying glue to fabric. You can also use a regular Elmer's glue washable glue stick if you prefer. One thing that I will say about cutting out the mesh, since we'll be adapting this for whatever mesh pocket that you're working with, you want to cut your mesh about 1.5 inches wider than the fabric that you're attaching it to. So that's number one. Number two, you can either cut your fold over elastic the same length as the fabric, or you can cut it 1/2 inch shorter. Either will work. If you cut it 1/2 inch shorter, that just means it'll be a little bit more taut, less loose. So if you're putting larger items inside, I would recommend going for the larger measurement, which is the same length as the fabric. So I have a little pre-recorded video showing how to assemble and attach the mesh elastic pocket to the fabric, so enjoy. One of your remaining pieces of mesh, and the fold over elastic will need to cut 2 pieces that measure each 11 inches long. So I'm going to show you how to attach the first piece. So the top edge of the mesh is the long edge, and we're going to be inserting the long edge of the mesh into the elastic in a similar manner to what we did before. So I'm going to use Wonder Clips to find the center point of the fold over elastic, and same thing with the mesh. Okay, I'm going to use my glue stick, and I'm going to glue from the sides to the center. And I'm going to start by placing the mesh halfway up the fold over elastic and then folding the top edge over. Same thing on the other side. So I'm going to fold both of the side edges over, and now I'm going to attach the center, and I need a little bit of glue in the center first. Okay, so the principle is the same for what we did previously with those mesh thread organizers. If you prefer to sew both of the ends first by 3/4 of an inch, you can. This is sort of a shorter piece than what we were working with earlier, so I'm just going to start sewing from one end to the other, but either option will work here. Okay, we're going to be sewing 1/8 of an inch away from the edge of the fold over elastic, and I still have my stitch length set to 3 millimeters. And make sure you're stretching as you sew. Okay, just like before, we're going to sew the lower edge using a longer basting stitch. So on my machine, I'm going to use a 4mm stitch length. Be sure to leave a tail at either end, and we'll be sewing 1/8 of an inch away from the bottom edge of the mesh. Now pull out one of your exterior side panels, and we're going to be attaching the mesh to the sides and the bottom edge. So we'll start by pinning the side edges. And this mesh pocket should not be super droopy. It needs to be a good amount of tautness so that when the bag is assembled, your pocket's not drooping. So if you notice that it's very droopy, you can trim the side edge. Mine looks pretty good. I'm going to arrange the basting stitches along the bottom so that I can distribute the mesh. And we're going to be sewing the side and bottom pinned edges using 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. I hope you enjoyed that demonstration. As you can see, it's really quick and easy to add that mesh elastic pocket, and you can adapt it to just about any bag or pouch that you're working on. So